What I love the most about Valorant is the fact that it's brought in all these esport titles, right? There's pros that have played games I've never even heard of. I've honestly run into pros that I'm like, what scene is that? I don't even know where you came from. Early stages of Valorant, because it's a 5v5 tac shooter, the CS pros had a lot of advantages, I would say, I guess.
Normally when you play Counter-Strike players, they're very methodical and they like to run down the clock and they take every situation and try to put it into their hands.
We tend to want to sit back and let you come to us and you make the mistake, and then we're gonna punish you. And then once you make that mistake, we're gonna wait for you to make another mistake. You know, it's like a domino effect. That's how we think of it. Whereas an Overwatch player says, I'm gonna run in and I'm gonna kill your whole team.
When you watch teams that have younger players or players that have come from other games, it's very, in a CS player's mind, it would seem one-dimensional, right? They're just going into one of the bomb sites and hitting it. But when you watch a team and they dump all of their utility in the perfect situation possible, they've thought this entirely through, and they're just able to constantly just barge into these bomb sites. And I think the CS players are shocked.
You know, when you play Counter-Strike for so long, you have this second nature in how you want to do things, and Valorant is very tricky sometimes because you can get caught off guard and there's a snowball effect. So you got to be like on top of your game.
I think Valorant is a game that is more suited to aggressive play, in all fairness. So I think being aggressive is the right thing to do in most cases. There's teams that are mixing those players, and it makes it very hard to play against because they can play two styles. They can play slow, they can play fast.
It's gonna be really cool to see as the scene develops, like who takes over, what style is gonna win out, and watching the difference between, you know, a player like Sinatra and let's say a player like Hiko. They both play Sova a lot, but you can clearly see they have very different approaches to the game. I think that's so cool to see early on in Valorant.
Welcome back to Valorant First Strike in North America. Getting ready for our next semifinal bout. This one coming between Sentinels and 100 Thieves. Belly, I want to come to you first, keying off of the conversation that Sean Garris and the rest were just having there around play styles in Valorant, and how you have this amalgamation of players that come from all kinds of games, and we're going to see that in this matchup alone. You've got the Overwatch squad over there on Sentinels, and then Hiko and the boys coming from all kinds of different games. So, I mean, already I think this single best of three is set up in a brilliant way to showcase kind of the flexibility of the game of Valorant.
Just like the last series we just saw, this one is going to be another situation of brains versus brawn, right? You have 100 Thieves, you have Steel and some of the brightest minds in the game. And we saw how methodically they were able to dispatch T1 yesterday. We look at Sentinels, these guys they get a kill and they do not stop moving. They keep going forward. And look at map number 1. Dash, I didn't expect that, man. Icebox?
Yo.
Really?
The curveball, Van Fleet. The curveball of Icebox by Sentinels in map 1. What do you make of it?
Especially when Sinatra sort of slipped yesterday in an interview with Smix, saying that, oh, you know, we've been practicing our ascent because it hasn't been looking too hot. I was expecting, especially due to Sentinels not having that much time to practice, they're going to get rid of Icebox right away. So to put this in right now, I want to know what tricks they have under their sleeve. We saw a lot of Sky yesterday from Sick. I'm expecting to see him into this map as well. I want to know how 100 Thieves are actually going to counter this. This is going to be a great one.
This is a run-it-down style of map, especially where T-sided is concerned. I mean, we have Sentinels running in, right? We have Sinatra dipping, diving, dodging, flipping, running, the 360s, all sorts of crazy things with his frenzy meta that he could do to actually breach a site, and he can do that by himself, where then you have the vets on the other side. You've got Nitro, you've got Hiko, you've got Steel, that are all, like Hayes said, sitting back waiting for you to come to them. So I think that this clash of styles here right at the top of this matchup is going to be a really interesting one, because we have a T-sided map, seemingly, where Sentinels can jump in and do whatever they want to do, and you have 100 Thieves sitting CT just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen.
But to add on to that, with 100 Thieves playstyle being very defensive, very laid back for the ones that are anchoring the site, you can't forget how aggressive they are with the flanks, though. Nitro, how many times has he flanked versus T1 yesterday, especially on Haven? You're looking at him on Vine. We critiqued him in the beginning on the attacker side. He wasn't been doing too well. I think it was like 3 and something, and finished at 22 kills on the board on that very map. Nitro's one player to look out for. So this head-to-head for me, Nitro versus Dapper. Dapper, for me, one of the top ciphers in North America. If he's going to be able to play a cipher in these maps to try to hold back versus Nitro, it's going to be a very interesting one.
And Hiko said it yesterday. He said there's a very certain type of matchup.
Don't bring it up, Jordan.
Between, man, I got to say it. I got to say it because my point.
100% bring it up.
Listen, I'm saying we have Sinatra, we have Asuna, we have two very. I mean, Asuna, we have to give all of the credit to him yesterday and his showing. He shone yesterday, especially as one of the youngins for the 100 Thieves squad. It was really exciting to watch. And Hiko said it himself yesterday in a post-game interview. He said, "I'm really excited to see Asuna, teach Sinatra a lesson," or whatever that is. Not verbatim, but I'm definitely excited to see that.
Jordan, I love Hiko. He's dad to everybody out there, but let's not get it twisted. If you come for the king, you best not miss. Overwatch MVP, came to Valorant, dominated this game, and you think Asuna is going to have a chance against Sinatra? I'm letting you know now. If it's not Sinatra, it's going to be Shazam. If it's not Shazam, it's going to be everyone else on this roster. This team is not a team that you just go up to one by one and say, my guy could take out that guy. It's way deeper than that, Dash. There's levels to this, man.
It sounds like it's going to be a contentious one, to say the least. We just got a minute until game time. So, Jordan, come to you first on the predictions, same way we did it last time. Who are you taking in this matchup?
Man, it's really interesting because I have some friends. I'm fortunate enough to play with a lot of these people that are matched up against each other.
The
now.
guy's got friends.
Okay.
Ooh,
The guy's got friends.
No. Surprise, he's got friends.
Listen, I love Shaz, I love Sinatra, I love everybody over on the SEN side, but I have to, maybe because I'm approaching my own 30s as well, I got to give it to 100 Thieves and their clutch-making capabilities, man. And I say this time and time again, 100 Thieves have a superpower in taking a site and re-entering it and dominating any post-plant defense that any team thinks that they might have.
I mean, again, you cannot argue with that 10-1 defensive half that they had just yesterday on Haven Van Silly. So do you think that 100 Thieves has enough magic left in the tank to do the same thing to Sentinels here?
Honestly, I believe so. I've been really good in my predictions so far this tournament. This one is the one that's up for grabs. I really want to give it to Sentinels because I want that storyline for TSM versus Sentinels, that rivalry, to build back up and to close this loop in 2020. But yesterday, 100 Thieves that look good. And there's one key factor to 100 Thieves that hasn't been spoken about. It's Dicey. Dicey is another player that we talk about a lot that has the great mechanics as a jet opper, and he hasn't shown up yesterday. So if he actually is able to step up with Asuna as the young fraggers for this team, Sentinels do definitely have to look out for this team.
Wow, so two calls for 100 Thieves here in 2-1 fashion. Veli, over to you. What is it going to be?
I'm a little different, Dash. Man, I'm going to have to give it to Sentinels. You know what? I like 100 Thieves. I want 100 Thieves to be in the finals. Trust me, I do. Shout out to Nation and everybody else over there. But listen, at the end of the day, we've seen this team rise up from the bottom, created some of the best players in the game. And when it comes to Shazam and everyone else leading the way, I think they're going to overpower them. Definitely, I'm going to call it 2-0.
Okay. Oh, the 2-0 for Sentinels. Okay. Well, hey, they brought out the curveball in Icebox. We expect that aggression from the start here in map number 1. Riv, DDK, we're handing it over to you for the call. Take it away.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yes, it is Riv and DDK here. We are ready to jump into our last semifinal to see who will join TSM in the grand finals. It's been a team who's been together in Sentinels versus a team that's coming together in 100 Thieves. DDK, what are you looking at this match?
So this match is going to be so intense, and I think one of the main things about the intensity here for me is that Sentinels always bring the power in these crazy scenarios where there's loads of pressure. It always allows them to just go to a new gear that maybe you haven't even ever seen before. That was really what made them so extremely exciting to watch when we first saw this rivalry between them and TSM, which a lot of people are truly rooting for that finals. But 100 Thieves, they've been showing an incredible display so far of just a very well-rounded approach to the game. And some of the stuff that's really impressed me is the way that they can find really devastating timings. We saw that from Nitro repeatedly with T1, but I think Sentinels is the kind of team, given the fact that they haven't shown too much, and especially going into Icebox here, it's that they will have a lot under their sleeves that I don't think 100 Thieves will be ready for.
I cannot wait to see what happens. We were looking at what the maps when they came through, DDK, and Haven, a bit of a favor there in the win percentage towards the side of Sentinels. Bind, the last map, if they can get to it, for 100 Thieves. That's one of their greatest maps to have. So Icebox has 0% in first strike for both these teams. What happens? Can this be the one that tips that scale? and it is going to be Sentinels attacking first here versus 100 Thieves defending. I'm so excited. We may even get Hiko off of that Sova, and we already have Sinatra picking up the Raze with the Sky locked in for Sentinels.
Hiko, lock it in, man. Lock in that Viper. That's what we want to see. We've heard a lot of people talking about how Viper can be very strong on Icebox, and especially as an agent that can deal with this flash meta. One of the ways you can counter that, though, is, of course, those Sky flashes that can go through the walls. And it looks like it will be that last-second juke from Hiko teasing us.
Yep.
I can't believe he did us like that. Come on, Hiko.
Of course, he's going back. There's so many lineups. He's been practicing it for so long. You know, one of these talking points I want to come into this match, we won't get to hit much here, is that it has been so much Sova we've been seeing. He controls a lot of the maps. He's a very great counter to Omen, and just being able to stand behind a smoke, dart over, and fire through. So not seeing it here is a little surprising to me, but that means Sentinels has something up their sleeve, and we're going to see what that is here as we jump onto Icebox in that last semifinal here of First Strike. Who will join TSM in the grand finals? It's going to be a tough one, whoever will get through.
Yeah, and this could very well be another legendary rivalry in the making between these two squads. We don't exactly know. I mean, we've had a glimpse as to how close they are previously, you know, in the qualifiers in that semi. That was a really close affair, but it's still a developing rivalry. 100 Thieves, they've had a lot of time to adjust, to understand from that one encounter with Sentinels how they play and feel out what kind of strategies and tactics will be best suited against them in the future. And both of these teams, again, they've been holding on to stuff. They haven't shown a lot in this tournament. I'm certain of it. Both of these teams understand that they need to make that grand finals run, and they have to have stuff in the tank ready to show at the latest stages. And here we are. It's the semifinals already.
Looks like a quick pause here before we get things going as they get sorted out before the match starts. Now, when we saw the Nerd Street Gamers Monthly, there was quite a bit of Killjoy coming in. That would hold angles at A. We don't see that anywhere here on the side of the 100 Thieves defense. That's going to be left up to a few traps put around. And it's always been surprising to see how a Cypher plays here as well. A lot of long rotations. If somebody does hit a trap, you're usually quite far away from it. So we'll see how they react off of that on the side of 100 Thieves. Now, Sentinels, I can't wait to see if they do have some B strats here. GDK would be surprising. And a lot of teams actually, to go on a serious note, haven't been working mid too much from what we've seen. Not trying to split that map. And I love maps with a traditional mid, and it seems to just be a holding point so far at First Strike.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's, I think, Envy in this tournament, in the playoffs, have shown us quite effectively all of the ways in which you as the attackers can abuse the rotation times and how bad they are for the defenders by just having a hold on that mid-tube area and making the defenders guess, because they have to pick a rotation, they've got to get the information to do so, and that's risky. So it creates all these problems there for the defenders. And Envy, you know, with the masterful calling from Finesse, really showed how you can exploit that. And I would expect both of these teams to be able to play that style out very effectively and to have some answers when they're in the shoes of the defenders as to how to get that info to make it so that you don't fall prey to these horrible rotations. And usually in most maps which have bad defender rotations, let's say you can pick a SEN, for example, you do need to get some forward control somewhere. So we'll have to see, what has Sentinels been working on? What has 100 Thieves been working on to try to solve some of these problems? Because as we've all mentioned, we haven't seen much Icebox. A lot of this is unknown.
I cannot wait. That's one of the best parts, too. The story's being written here by the teams as we see it the first time. They may have an inkling of what happened in scrims, but that's all gone now. It's about what happens here this weekend. It looks like they will start working towards A to begin, and traps are set quite deep here on the B site, so mostly playing a retake, I believe, if that happens for the side 100 Thieves. Let's see how they take to this. A bit of utility coming in, but just overall nothing unorthodox for this first round.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Definitely a lot easier to retake the B side than A, and as you say, that forward engagement there, already kicking off the action. Exchanges even for both sides, and it seems like Sentinels are barreling through this defense so far, and you can see Nitro will try to slow things down with the dark cover, but it will require some expert shots to try to equalize this one. 100 Thieves are very far behind, and there's nothing short of heroics now that are required to recover this situation, but it's a pistol, so I'm sure we're going to see them try to come up with something.
Not too much utility here on the side. 100 Thieves to get back in. Can Hiko find a few shots? It's going to be a jump over, and a quick frenzy from Sinatra means they only lose Zombs this round. That's going to feel pretty good as they come into round two. An A hit to start off. This should be a quick one as well if Sentinels plays it safe, but fast, if you will. And this first move from Dicey, I love it, right? If nobody's there, huge info. You see all the way down into spawn. He start a rotation. He does get caught, though, which still gives you info. It's just Sentinels was ready to progress from there.
And you can see now in a situation like this, you're playing this anti-eco. Well, with that said, we do have Asuna on the Reyna with the Stinger in hand. So that's pretty awesome because the Stinger, really fast rate of fire. You can get that kill pretty quickly, and then you can dismiss away and reposition. So that's how you could win a round like this, but they're not over-investing. So I like that choice from 100 Thieves, but we can see here that Sentinels hitting up that really fast push, that nice classic burst from Nitro to defend against Sinatra. Sinatra did create space for his team, though. They lost that one player, but my God, these pistols are doing some serious damage, Riv.
This is huge already. They've dropped armor, they've dropped not weapons, but at least those first buys coming in. A good bonus round, I should say, for Sentinels, as they haven't lost too much. Spike is down, so they get the extra credits here, but 100 Thieves doing a very nice job of making a case that this round should be theirs, that they can go back and forth right off the bat. There's that Stinger purchased up by Asuna. Steel trying to work it. Will he have the IQ to make this one happen? Continues the fakes, 41 HP. It's going to make it tough, and Zombs ducks right under the classic of Steel, and that's going to be it. The second round for Sentinels here, and we'll see what happens once we get some weapons in the hands of both teams.
Really good damage, though, from 100 Thieves. You got to hand it to them. A really nice opening defensive kill from Nitro to sort of start that off, and had he not got that, that would likely have been a very easy cleanup, as so much space is created by Sinatra. But with that said, moving into the third round, we'll see the operator picked up by Dicey. A lot of question marks around Dicey for this series. I think they brought it up on the analyst desk, and also with yesterday, Dicey he didn't perform his best. So we'll see if he can do something better here with this operator.
Quick straight up, a little flash coming in from Sick. And Asuna, on the other hand, was hitting the crazy shots. Even Hiko said it, so looking for that consistency from him as well. Hopefully they can find it. And the thing almost answered for me for 100 Thieves yesterday, we'll have to see if it can still happen, is there a connection between the older players and the younger players when it gets tight, when there's intense moments? And they've so far shown in the last series that can be there. Zombs opens up this one. Sinatra will answer with another one. As Sentinels gain quite a bit of ground before they even start seeing 100 Thieves. What that means, Sentinels is already on site. Now it's up to Dicey on the back with the op, sorry. And now one bullet left. Looks like he's not going to be able to get that reload down as Shazam takes him out. Nitro fires, and DDK, the first gun round, goes to Sentinels as they continue to swarm these sites with aggression.
Yeah, and this is so far Sentinels on the pistol, 5 players into that A site, and then also we saw that again on this buy round. So it's only been the eco rounds where we saw a switch up from these heavy A investments. So one thing to note there is now 100 Thieves in their next buy round. This is of course half buy with some stingers. In the next buy round, they're thinking, okay, we have to answer this problem. How do we do that? This is Sentinels conditioning 100 Thieves. They can play off of that because maybe if 100 Thieves overreact, they'll leave other areas of the map open. It's a great start from Shazam to deal with this sort of half-buy situation. And it's going to really help them out in making that spike plant a reality here towards B.
For sure. Bladestorm down right away, hoping to at least get a headshot, drop a gun, and make it a little more economically efficient for the 100 Thieves side next round, but not so far DDK. And again, Sentinels push forward hard, dropping 100 Thieves one after the other on this save.
100 Thieves looking to find some damage here. Close up with the Stinger. Steel is at least able to do some economic damage, but it is fairly minimal, and I think well within the acceptable losses for Sentinels. And their economy is still growing, and they're now 4-0 up. And I just mentioned, what is the response? 100 Thieves, you would expect that they know that an abusive strategy so far that's worked out for Sentinels is hitting A, just with all 5 players. This leaves the rest of the map open, mid and B, in the early portions of the round. 100 Thieves could either push those extremities, or they could try to shore up the defense on A. They've actually gone for a more passive setup on A with 3, and they're just actually keeping it passive. They expect Sentinels to mix it up here.
They have the cam in mid to make sure nobody's coming up, and it looks like Steel stays in that for a bit. Sinatra finds Nitro as they still try to play a few of the same angles with different utility, different agents, but It seems like Sentinels just has 100 Thieves number right now. Lockdown goes out. Patience for 100 Thieves here as they try to go for the retake. And quite a bit of utility is out to find 100 Thieves if they try.
Oh, nice catch by Asuna through the smoke there, the recon dart allowing them extra vision. And this isn't looking too bad on the retake right now. Sentinels force all the way back to the yellow container, and Shazam tries to not allow them to take too much more space. The Cloud Burst will be helpful with that operator as well in hand. He is a dangerous presence, but Asuna, he wipes the floor with them. Sentinels get totally wiped out by that retake. That's a beautiful look if you're 100 Thieves, and I mean, it's been such a struggle until this point.
And I think that's where 100 Thieves, the fans, everyone starts to see their strength. Patient, wait for utility to come back up. The few pings that Hiko's dart got allowed Asuna to know whoever was behind Banana, that's the yellow crate I call it, is hiding. He can fire free at left side, takes 2 out at Crane, they take the 3rd out. That was what we've been seeing from 100 Thieves organization and work. When they're all working together, it's 1, 2, 3, and they pick up the first round here as we come into round 6.
This is gonna be fun.
I'm curious if there's any sort of setup here on the A side from 100 Thieves. You know, Sentinels going back to these B hits that have worked out very, very well so far. Love to see if that's going to be the same story or if there are some changes strategically, or tactically, I should say. And we get the Empress popped there for 100 Thieves. They are anticipating heavy A action, and it will be spotted. Dapper, though, will be taking down Asuna, which is going to create problems now. Ground will be gained for Sentinels, and once again, they take advantages here as they push forward with the showstopper to take even more ground. Oh, Dicey just gets out of dodge in time.
That was scary. Nicely done. Looks for the shot. Hits the back of Sinatra as he's mid-air. So a quick flick there. Nitro also pulls up a kill.
Spike planted.
And now they should be able to retake quite a bit. Sentinels is getting themselves positioned, but they're all in the same spot. This may not help on the retake. There is the Cypher ultimate. And now it's up to the shots for 100 Thieves. Can they hit them? These retakes are always so sketchy. You got to be close. It's always around a corner or a smoke. And the trades start coming in on top of the game, playing a verticality. It's going to be a drop down from Dicey, but he falls, and Steel answers back. It's going to be him and Nitro to finally stay alive in the jungle gym that is an A retake.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you described it really well. It is like a, you know, American Ninja Warrior obstacle course up here. Just all these smokes, all these ropes all over the place. These huge objects to kind of have to like look up and down. It's just absolute madness and very hard to predict indeed. I can't imagine how it feels for these players in this position, in this tournament at this point. But there you go. 100 Thieves off of the retakes are having great success finally. 2-4 now, a deficit of 2 rounds, so they're on their way back. But with the plant of the spike there, you know, Sentinels will get an economic boon, which allows them to keep the buys coming, keep the pressure up, and now it's their mix-up back in towards the B site pressure with some mid-dark covers as well to, oh, well, I've got to hold that thought. Nitro is able to pick off Sinatra. I wonder if that would change the plan here for the Sentinels lineup.
DDK, that's 1 of 2 ops right now. Dicey also has one. We have seen this earlier in a few of the series come in First Strike, but usually the double op is not something you see due to the economy change. Nitro looking for the flicks, knows there's one behind containers. Nitro with a 3K off round, and the rest of the team coming up on fire for a Prime Gaming flawless.
Now that's a great answer for all of these like long rotations and long angles. Just get all the operators. You can see Nitro here really flexing his ability to just work with anything. And a bit of trivia for those of you that didn't know, when Nitro first came up in the CSGO world onto the Tier 1 scene, he was a cracked rifler, but then he switched into an IGL and AWP sniping role for years. So
that's awesome.
He can do everything.
That's great. Yeah, Operas always want to stand back, or IGLs always want to sit back, so why not give them an op?
And
so
finally, Sentinels on a bad buy.
Yeah, that's a great point. They have kind of been running the show right now. We've been watching them use ults for the past few rounds, able to get into sites pretty willy-nilly. And now they're slowed down. Still gaining the same amount of ground, though. Shazam with the Blade Storm out. We usually see this spot reserved for Zoms, and Asuna rather, going to drop that one down. We've been seeing Blade Storms not have too good of a run this series. And everything's going to start going down at A once again. Doesn't seem like it stops once these start.
Yeah, completely agree. It's actually looking a little bit difficult at this point for 100 Thieves. They have given up the site, which is okay. They have enough to go for that retake. The recon dart goes straight in and gets destroyed straight away. And the spike is planted. And 100 Thieves, they don't have a rush right now. They've got plenty of time to figure out how exactly they can coordinate themselves in. But stingers around these corners, honestly, very, very dangerous. Got to hit those instant headshots when you're playing against the stingers, as their rate of fire is so brutal. Trying to use this high ground to find a way in. Dicey desperately looking for that initial pick for them to try to burst off of. Steel gaining ground as well on the low ground. And there's that stinger from Sick. Nice frag from Dicey, but I don't know how much more he can do here. Hiko,
Whoa.
great support there. Saves Dicey, actually, and that's huge.
Really big to be able to save those weapons on the way out. Yeah, Sentinels is going to be able to get in. It was always tough for 100 Thieves on this one. We actually saw that Steel was late rotating as round 8 comes in for that Playzilla Thrifty. But late, as we saw, a lot of teams holding. They don't want to get faked. They don't want that spike to get planted when they've all rotated. So Steel was coming over. It looked a little bit more intense, right? Because you're racing against the clock. But once everybody was there, Sentinels still had what it took to take down 100 Thieves.
And it's very difficult here, I would say, for 100 Thieves because they feel pretty strong across the whole map. It's just these A entries from Sentinels have been very strong. Sentinels have great coordination, and 100 Thieves, if they don't have any setups that they have already drilled and planned to how to play that more aggressively, they're in a lot of trouble. They may have to play a lot of retakes here. And oh, the double peek, almost a collat there actually. Nice kill by Dicey onto Shazam. That will go a long way. They've been struggling to get those initial defensive kills, and that could make all the difference here. Asuna, he's been stunning so far, and he's still doing the damage at backside. It's the Hunter's Fury from Hiko to assist this defense, and my god, this is what they were looking for.
Exactly, DDK. It's those rounds where you forget things are coming online. The ultimates are there. Whenever we see Hiko getting his ultimate, he is always displacing a team and causing chaos for whatever strat they are running there. We saw a few tags, and now Sinatra's left with the operator. Will he be able to make quick work of 3 members of 100 Thieves who are really giving him nothing to work with? He's making a bit of noise. He knows he has some room to work with here, and he might pull out an angle that somebody's peeking at. Can't decide. He has a smorgasbord over here. What's he going to pick? Get in a candy store. Fakes the plant.
30 seconds left.
What a tough situation for Sinatra. You're playing against the 3 most experienced players on the entire team, on the entire tournament, maybe, I don't know. These guys will not throw this situation. They are forcing Sinatra to play against the clock, to go for that plant of the spike. He's got nothing. There's nothing that he can do. They're forcing him into an impossible scenario. He can't do anything. That is just beautiful team play, communication, and experience from Hiko, Steel, and Nitro. They're never making an error there. They're never giving Sinatra anything.
I would not have put it against him if he tried to walk the Vandal and Operator up into sight. Quick drops. Quick drops. Get it up there. Give yourself an arsenal to fight with. He did what he could, buying all the time. That's the contact play and patience you need from 100 Thieves. Nobody's just peeking out. You're pinching him in, not giving him the 1v1. And Sinatra had no way to pull back there. 5-4 as it becomes quite even here on Icebox, a map that neither of these teams has played during First Strike. And we'll see how they continue to go about this one, if it will be a 6-6 half.
Interestingly, 100 Thieves seem to realize that, or have gambled on an early switch up in their setup. They got 3 towards B. They've mostly been having 3 on the A site itself. So this is going to work very nicely against what Sentinels are bringing, which is a more aggressive B hit. Now, lockdown will come through from Sentinels. We'll see what that's going to be able to accomplish. They're trying to play this slow and steady to make sure they don't get picked as they push forwards, but they didn't account for Nitro. He found a tiny crevice to stand in, safe from the lockdown, and Steel holds it down with the help of him.
Standing out in the open, why would you expect it? Blast in, so now just going to find one in hell of the tub. And it looks like they'll have pretty good control over the site now, DDK. Nitro always pull little tricky things like that, whether he's on the box at Sea Haven long or right in your face during a lockdown. Dicey drops Sinatra as the operator starts going to work and coming online again for 100 Thieves. And now Shazam going to have a lot of work cut out for him there, but Dicey gets another one on the round. And now it is 5-5 here in this first of the best of 3 series. 100 Thieves starting to look great as they get some rounds strung in a row. Their economy is going to be up, and we'll see Sentinels possibly here on another save.
As a quick point, stylistically from Sentinels' attack, you know, the way that they're playing is just heavy A or heavy B. Now, one of the ways that you may play against that is by trying to gamble on the defense and pushing B or pushing A, hoping that you find a lot of free space so you can get a flank. 100 Thieves have never done that because they don't want to play a gambly style. Instead, they're relying on playing retakes. So a lot of respect given to Sentinels as they go back to a save round and they're hitting up on this A site. With these stingers, it is very dangerous. Dicey's going to have to be on point, and that's a great start from him.
Very big. If that's a quick shot or Dicey misses, they gain a lot of information that Stingers can rush that operator and take it out. Asuna and Dicey making quick work to dismiss. Does it give him enough room? No, Zoms find him. This is the pressure the Sentinels needs to make to get those reloads, those windows where they can fight back. They're very small, but Sentinels finds it. And now it's going to be a spike plant on the A site. You already know if you were coming behind, a great time to get 6 ultimate in there. Sick again, that Swiss Army knife, just able to bring out whatever the team needs, whenever the team needs it.
And Zoms has a few options. The issue is that he doesn't have a Vandal or a Phantom, something that can work with longer ranges. But with a minute at the beginning of this 1v3, he could just wait, and he's resetting the situation, making it so that 100 Thieves have to understand that there's a possibility that he could flank, so it does pull their positions further out of the site to play it very safe. And you can see they're going to do the same as they did against Sinatra in a similar situation. Just create an impossible situation where Zoms is forced to plant the spike, which allows him to know his position, and as you can see here, to gain the ground against him to make it truly an impossibility. So they don't care that the spike goes down there, and a little bit of extra cash goes to Sentinels. They'd rather guarantee a round.
It does really... Okay, we see a bit of the stratting coming in where, you know, how quick you can get to a position and break kind of the trend that's happening, or the timing. Seems like they're having a vibe over there on 100 Thieves' side. But looking at how this always happens, shots from pipes or a little behind. Then the next fight's going to happen somewhere in the middle, and it becomes, obviously on this eco, a round of just aiming, but the utility or a smoke is usually there, and where as soon as Asuna's fighting is where you see the action start to happen. So A just becomes this who's feeling it this round, I feel like, so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It does seem quite hard to predict how those opening duels will go, but it looks like, again, Sentinels now is back to B. Sky Flash into A to prevent any forward pushes there, whilst the rest of the team goes close here, as does Nitro behind the dark cover! Oh no! That is horrible for Sentinels. A stray bullet through the smoke lands a second headshot for Nitro, which will prove quite difficult now for Sentinels. However, 100 Thieves, they make it even worse. And now it's a question of how much ground do they have? Is it enough to get onto a site? Well, it doesn't look like that's the case. Great positioning here from 100 Thieves to really prevent much, but looks like Shazam will find an angle. Maybe there's some space after all.
Some great comms in mid there from Dicey, I believe, to Hiko, that Zoms had teleported up into kitchen, so they were really able to get a flank that could have been a huge impact from Sentinels this round. 100 Thieves covering all their bases right now, and that's going to be another shot from Dicey as he's got himself Hiko down at Snowman. And Sick doing what he can. 2v1 situation here. Final round of the first half, and 100 Thieves will make sure to pick that one up as well.
I respect the fake flash there from Sick. I respect that a lot. Shame it didn't work out. Damn. That's some variance for you. Hard to account for that if you're Sentinels.
You can always rely on Nitro for a few of those, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If someone's going to do it, it will be him. To find those annoying kills against you. And, you know, that was a great spot because Nitro, you know, he's often played a bit more passively. He hasn't often played that close to those choke points, to the garage position. So that really caught Sentinels off guard. And they will be trailing going into the second half by 2 rounds. Great recovery from 100 Thieves. They were down quite a lot at the beginning. We'll have to see how this pistol transpires, but it looks like a lot of aggression is already shaping up towards this B site.
And you look at the KDAs there, DDK, Asuna and Dicey stepping up again here for 100 Thieves. And the question was, would Dicey be able to fill that role again today, as he wasn't as great as Asuna, but still played good yesterday. Everybody's always going to be a critic after those, right? But still stepping up, showing that he can, and the youngsters are really molding as this team grows together.
Yeah, lots of damage done to Sick, and you can see in this rotation from 100 Thieves, they'll be able to move back into mid.
Yeah.
They are in a position where they can try to draw out utility early on. A lot of teams do like to just bum rush into a site, so you can really convince them to separate themselves from that utility that they're holding. And right now, it looks like 100 Thieves are moving into this A site. They have some of the utility advantage. They're playing with it. Shock Dark straight through to the back with the paranoia. Great defense, though. Shazam, he's known for that pistol aim, and it's going to come out in force, as it will for Zoms too. Holding the line at the back of the side, but it's a 2 versus 2. 40 seconds to go. Hiko trying to work the A side boxes to find another engagement, as now Asuna is laying down fire from the distance with that ghost. So Hiko, he finds one
30
more.
seconds left.
But it's Dapper against 2.
Oh, utility as well. Gonna go out right next to him. Got a ping, and now eyes focused. Oh, they're just toying.
Remaining.
Hiko takes one out. Zoms falls there, and Dapper is looking to keep himself safe. Just before he gets around the corner, Hiko finds a 4K on the pistol. And they're going to start having good econ coming into these next ones. We'll see what the bonuses are if he decides to actually buy with that amount of money. And they put some strength on one of the sites. Steel, we'll go ahead and just pick up the Bulldog. It does look like they'll get a little bit under their belt. So a few Bulldogs, they are going to go ahead and try to hold these for a few rounds.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Sentinels, losing that pistol. Obviously, Sentinels won the first pistol. They got off to a great start on the first half, but they're, trailing at the end of that first half, and 100 Thieves are, I would say on the attacker's side, obviously you're always going to favor the team that's got the better buy against the eco, but I feel like this is a very hard map to get anything on an eco, given how huge the rotations are.
Yep.
And you can see if a team plays it properly. Look at this. You know that the players on those pistols are going to want to stack. So the smallest amount of info will cause them to go for rotations. So you can bait huge rotations very easily. However, 100 Thieves have to be careful. They may be playing... They think that they just caused a rotation and they're going to reset.
Yeah.
In this reset, the Sentinels will rotate back out, but they're wrong. Sentinels are actually stacking still on B. That's a great call from them.
Pull a little runaway strat. Maybe they heard us. Oh, Dicey goes down. That's going to be the spike, and not a great spot, but quickly getting taken down. Sentinels was all grouped up in one spot, and 100 Thieves was still able to hit their mark. Zom's in mid. We might be able to get some armor off of one of these members of 100 Thieves, but they start off these first 2 rounds pretty good. Now, Sentinels actually didn't buy a thing coming into this one. Maybe an extra bit of util if it came down to it, where they were in a situation that was winnable. But those were classics across the board. They are going to be funded here, and we'll see if they try to do something big coming into this next round.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much that we have to look out for, just because we've seen so little Icebox, and this is so deep in the tournament.
Yeah.
Definitely know these teams have been prepping on it, and yeah, I was a little bit concerned to see that fake rotation actually not get bought at all from the ecoing team in Sentinels. But into another buy round we'll go, and seems like 100 Thieves have a similar style so far from Sentinels' attack. Going pretty heavy towards this A hit.
DDK, 3 members of Sentinels bought down to 0. This will be their 3rd round loss. If they all go down, that's 2,900 they get next round, but this round is imperative for them to stop the bleeding of what happened here in the beginning. 100 Thieves feeling great. Zoms does stop that. Asuna goes down in the back of the site, and now they're trying to get up top. Great plant towards the top side, covered by smoke. The fight in between 2, and Nitro finds the kill before he drops to the hands of Zoms 3K.
Player remaining.
Hiko in the 1 versus 2. He's done this so many times in CS in his career. Oh, he's just been spotted. They're thinking he's going around the corner, though. He might be able to isolate one of these 2 players. That's how you get this done, but it's Dapper to find the shot instead. Very difficult to win those. And that is a much-needed round from Sentinels. Really nice defense at the back of the site. Where, I mean, it's scary, man. You see Asuna flying in on the rope, trying to gain the space as quickly as possible. There was that one player he overlooked, and that was where things started to look a bit more doable there for Sentinels.
What this round could have meant if 100 Thieves were able to almost clean sweep it would have put the side of Sentinels in such a hard place in the economy game. But Sentinels do it. They come out really strong on that round, persevere, and they find themselves now with a bit more money to play with. All that utility now An ultimate here for Zoms. He's been having a pretty good second half, so he's going to be able to cause some distraction if it comes to it. And 100 Thieves look like they will want to start working their way towards A once again.
Yeah, we will see Sick trying to pressure mid a little bit, but you can see Steel's investigating the tube there, making sure that he understands whether or not they're actually pushing mid. So right now, Steel can actually work out that they are stacking towards the A site proper, and it looks like they are still committing in regardless. They could try to rotate out there with Steel's Lurk. Steel's Lurk is pretty huge right now, so they can afford to slow the push down to let Steel work and gather info, but it just looks like that's not going to happen here. Zoms manages to bring the fight to Dicey, and 100 Thieves, they're not really in the position to use Steel as they wanted, but finally, that's what we're talking about. Steel catches one of the defenders, and this is going to cause a rotation back to B. There's 55 seconds, so there's a lot that 100 Thieves can do here, but it's all on Steel. He has to hold on to this forward position. He has to win these fights, otherwise this will not work out.
He loves this. One of the more aggressive ciphers you will see, and he gets the flick shots. More than not, hitting Shazam there right off the hip. Zoms answers back. Finally, Steel didn't have enough HP to make it happen. And now, Sinatra and Zoms on the retake. Spike is planted, acting as almost a third member that 100 Thieves get to work with here, and they get to work around that member.
Great timing there for Nitro to defend against Sinatra, but it's up to Zoms playing around the dark cover, looking to isolate the 1v1s. There's one of them, tapping the bomb, putting the pressure on. Can he find the next shot? He's looking for it. It's Hiko to get it done in the 1v1. Great stuff there from him as 100 Thieves. They go 10 to Sentinels 6. They are definitely pulling away at this point, but what a beautiful play from Steel in that round. It was all on him.
It really is. They talk about his IGL, right? The beginning strat was towards the A site. And they talk about how Steel's in-game and mid-game strats are something to be reckoned with. Finds Dapper on a quick check on mid, and the strats towards B. But it still required Steel to do something at B, taking out 6. So there's more to it all the time. He'll usually show up with the flick shots. 10 to 6 now as we start to progress onto this one. Round 17. We'll see if Bladestorm from Shazam can pick up anything towards Tub and mid.
It definitely, as well, it's unfortunate that it didn't. They have 3 Stingers, though, to work some of these close quarters combat situations that they may encounter around this B site. That's actually part of the reason, in fact, why we're seeing 100 Thieves go to this site, because you can deny some of those close quarter fights. You can have more open engagements where your rifles are better. Oh my god, Asuna is just a laser with that Vandal. Beautiful stuff. It is looking quite desperate, though, here for 100 Thieves. They didn't want it to be this difficult. You got to hand it to Sentinels. They're doing so much damage right now. The spike unable to be planted. They're going to have to reconsider what they actually do in this round. They reset things. They did not get the position they needed, and that is some guns to be collected for Sentinels. Now,
absolutely. Oh,
they are waiting for the rotation here. They want to push onto this B side.
See what they can do. They did so much damage, but you're right. Sentinels have to be so happy with what they've done in terms of damage.
30 seconds
taking
left.
armor off, at least from Dicey. So they play this round even more patient, and they get a few more of those wins. That dominoes into an entire round win for them. Dicey playing it slow. They want to leave him for the open. Hiko's going to try to displace one if he can. The paranoia comes through as Hiko finds. Will he be able to clutch this? He will not. It's a Playzilla thrifty for Sentinels.
Really well played. I mean, again, there's a reason why 100 Thieves go to that B site. It's because when you're up against Stingers and so on, you're going to reduce some of that variance. You're going to make the fights worse for the Stingers. But even still, Sentinels still defend really effectively. And you got to hand it to them for that. And that's going to help them stay in this game, because it really didn't look like they were going to be able to find a way back in. 100 Thieves, they were playing so well. And the 100 Thieves started to pull out that mid-round stuff as well. We saw that from Steel. And we may see a different look here as well. A lot of players here for 100 Thieves moving towards that mid position. There's that flash that's come through most rounds from Sig.
A little knowledge from the Ruba goes out towards Kitchen. This is the first time we really see a little love towards mid. 100 Thieves is going to try to start pressuring something that Sentinels hasn't really been able to see. Dog goes out, spammed. Sinatra finds the head of Steel, and looks like they're going to try to get in towards Snowpile, but it does not work. Sentinels is ready for this, and maybe we see that reason. You can't take mid. It's such a quick squeeze from both sides. Somebody's always Kitchen. Somebody can look down container side. That fight does remove a few members of 100 Thieves, and now they are up against a 5-person retake here from Sentinels.
Yeah, certainly not a good look. I loved, like, tactically what 100 Thieves were trying to do. We'll go into that in a second as Nitro tries to find himself some love with that Sheriff, although he will be denied. So I wanted to mention quickly, we saw Hiko was at the spawn ship at the start of the round lining up a recon dart, which went through the snowpile window as his teammates were coming up through the tube. So that dart goes through and allows, basically breaks the kind of pre-aim or crosshair placement of defenders just as his teammates are coming through that position. So it's a nice little setup to gain some mid control, but unfortunately Sentinels just a little bit better this time around as we go into the next round. And it does seem to be a Sentinel story now. They are bringing this one back, but still a couple more rounds to go to equalize.
Shazam picking up that operator. Thought he might. And everybody's fragging this game. Participation from each team. Cannot single anyone out. Ults are coming up when they might need to come up due to frags or ult orb grabs, and it's just coming down to these firefights again. So we'll check this A strat as they go and proceed forward. Obviously a dart to the backside. You want to grab a little info. Who are we fighting? Will we expect Zom's paranoia? Can we expect a Killjoy turret to be somewhere into the site? Get a little bit closer at the fight on pipes. This is where it begins. And that's where the Killjoy lockdown is actually going to start, as they suspect it might be the A site take. DDK, 100 Thieves is still going to execute.
This is awesome as well because Sick actually sent the dog down mid earlier to see if there was any lurk from Steel. He saw that there wasn't. So that actually allowed them to know it was a committed A play, which then triggered the lockdown play. So now it's a reset situation for 100 Thieves. They don't have to commit here. The Sky ult comes through to delay things even more, buying time. And 100 Thieves have to start to worry about flanks. And also, equally, Sentinels have to, because they don't actually have a flank, they have to worry about the reset into a rotation to the other side. So right now, this is just sort of a stalemate as far as the defenders of Sentinels are concerned. They're just sitting, holding their ground, waiting for 100 Thieves to make a move, and there's that move. Nitro gets the better of Zoms, and now they trigger the push onto A.
It becomes such a touch and go of who's going to hit the shot. Nitro and Steel take down two more. Shazam and Sick now on the rotations, and Shazam isn't close just yet. So 100 Thieves will get a little time here to buy some space to set up a garrison on A.
Great entry from Sick, though, to take down Steel.
That's huge.
Looking to see what else he can get here as this spike ticks away. Nitro is now looking to see if he can find Sick, knowing he's lurking around there somewhere. They've got good positions to play from, good angles to play off of one another. But that Cloudburst, that puts the pressure on. You can see it forces Nitro forwards. There's that recon dart, though. They can't see through the Cloudburst. They know the jet must be in there. Nitro goes close with the Classic, finds it, prevents the defuse, and 100 Thieves manage to hold the plant. Lovely stuff from them. That brings them to 11, 2 away from a victory in the semifinals in map 1.
I cannot wait to see what the evolution of that area right there in the mid where Pipes is Hiko's looking. It just happens for teams. What the strats become, because we saw when they get shut down, as Steel's just super hype here on screen. We saw when they got shut down, it was up to Nitro to push forward with Asuna just above his head, right? No more util to start using in that case. So it does become that just firefight, which actually makes it super interesting and intense each game because there's a lot left up to that.
Oh, definitely. And we have a faster pace through the tube and mid here, and they destroy all of the utility of Sky, of Sick, who has been throwing that stuff consistently. So that creates a lot of pressure and presence. Look at the rotation on the defenders on the minimap. You can see they pulled fully out of the A site. They realized that immediate kill of the utility of Sky is very threatening. They have to respect it. They do have Zoms going back into A to kind of investigate to make sure, but right now they're definitely feeling mid. They're definitely feeling that B play from 100 Thieves, and they wouldn't be wrong to do so.
Nitro again, working the elevation here, trying to use a little verticality to his advantage. And they have not been shy at kind of faking Bs. This will be the second time. Last they did go back after a quick run away, trying to get an audio cue rotation off of Sentinels. This time again, that committal towards A with quite a bit of utility to use here. Dicey can get himself to the back. Hiko has quite a few darts to use. And Shazam and the rest of the team are ready over at B. I wonder if the rotation will be enough. Left. It was the silent walk in, and 100 Thieves are going to try to defend A now with Sick opening up.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for 100 Thieves. So many players left alive for Sentinels.
my
It gets
word.
even worse. Hiko and Dicey against it all. Here is Dicey. Dashes out after that kill onto Zombs. That is not bad. Hiko also delivering frags here. This might be doable, but just as I say that, Shazam and Sick will silence the effort of 100 Thieves. And I got to say, that was a great round rip from 100 Thieves. We could see, you know, we talked about it, that initial pressure in mid, it was respected. That pulled the rotation out of A. They started to put more pressure towards B, and that allowed Steel to lurk into the A site. But Steel got a very deep position on A as his team went to rotate back there, but he didn't get anything from it. He actually lost the 1 versus 1. If Steel would have won that 1 versus 1, I think 100 Thieves probably win the round. So it was a great setup from 100 Thieves. They still made it look very competitive despite that.
Quite a few ults ready this round. Dicey right there. Could be looking for an ult point as well. We'll see how they decide to play this one. He's focused over towards that B side. It might be right what they go for. Nice shot from Sinatra. Love the double crane jump as he gets on top of that highest container. And now they trade back and forth. No action towards A just yet, just this time. And no real coverage on mid here, but Sentinels will play it slow to see if they're getting pushed from the angles they didn't have info on previously.
It feels like both teams are playing super well right now. No one has an amazing answer for anything. I think I can't really fault either team for what they're doing. And we'll get a bit of information sought after by Sky. Sick there with that dog, sending it all the way through. And I think it was mostly avoided here, so they may not realize quite how close 100 Thieves are. They certainly realize now, though, because 100 Thieves start piling into the site, making all the noise, looking for that spike plant. They'll be able to manage to get that. Asuna picks that one up. A Ghost and a Sheriff, though, that's all they have to work with, but there's a Vandal collected by Asuna. We know how dangerous he is with this. Just juking around that box. Dapper trying to use the Nanoswarm to get him from that position, and he's going to make it work out. It's now down to Hiko once again. He's got the Hunter's Fury. He's got some info off the recon dart, and he's going to creep around the site. If he can find the 1v1s here, he might be able to make this work. They just have a sense of it where he's at, and Shazam nails it with the classic. Oh, such an important round by Sentinels. 10-11 for them now.
Well played there inside the mind of Hiko as they both step out to know Hiko. Honestly, one of the clutch masters there on 100 Thieves. If it's the end of the round, you want him alive. It's the middle of the round, you can see Steel getting 3Ks along with Nitro. I mean, the whole team can step up, but here, they do not allow it to happen this time. He does save the Hunter's Fury, I believe you mentioned that. Maybe one of these next rounds, 11-10 as it gets tight, and it may not have solidified the round there. Continuously, everyone is fragging. What a game here from both teams on our first map of Icebox. And like I said, DDK, this should have been the one that, this could be the one that tilts the scales, with the next map being in favor of Sentinels, and the last map, if we can get to it, being 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I just love how close this is. We'll get another push towards this B side of the map, looking for these openings. Asuna gets taken down by Shazam, and Asuna is so dangerous. I'm always afraid for anyone who's in his crosshairs, but he will get eliminated this time. And you can see the rotation from 100 Thieves instantly, just running all the way to this A site. And already there's a defense set up here. Sentinels have all of the edges, all of the advantages in their favor.
Somfine Steel looking the wrong way. 2 for him. The entries are huge. And Shazam's going to answer back. Spike goes down there. That's going to be all they need to tie it up. Action in A happens so quick. It's relentless when everybody starts going forward here. And now we're going to see who can get that advantage and then game point. DDK, this is exactly how I wanted to see it happening for both teams. Sinatra bringing out the Odin. Let's see where he decides to go with this one. It looks like he'll set up somewhere towards the kitchen area, and his rotation will be over towards A side if they really need it here. But I'm looking to see what he knows to spam up.
I know, right? I just don't even want to know just like what nerdy spots Sinatra has discovered. It's going to be on matchmaking now for the next few months, but we'll see just by the cheaper, as you mentioned. Trying to defend this with Raze. Great spot for Raze with the utility. You can apply so much pressure there, make it really hellish for the attackers. But speaking of which, 100 Thieves, not really worried about mid. They have Steel on the lurk there once again, but they've got this pressure. 4 players towards the A site, looking for the opening. Dicey's got that Blaze Storm on the go, looking for the kills, but he's not going to find it. In fact, 100 Thieves really coming up short here on this attack.
Sick has been disgusting inside the site. Everybody from Sentinel stepping up there, but it just seems like that back corner is his. We'll see how this happened once again. A few misses here. The Blade Storm has not been connecting for Dicey on the rounds. He throws it out, and Sentinels take advantage of that one more time. Now on game point here for Icebox.
And it's crazy. It felt like, those first 4 rounds, you can see it on the scoreboard right there. Sentinels won those in a row. It really felt like a Sentinels game, but then 100 Thieves, they took over. And it's not until in the last few rounds the Sentinels have looked like they're going to win this one. And of course, here we go, looking fantastic. Shazam's already come online too. Haven't seen what Sinatra has planned with that Odin just yet, but I'm sure we'll see that. Once again, 100 Thieves looking for that A play. This is a very similar opening to, in fact, it's the same opening as the last round. We'll have to see if it can go better though.
If 100 Thieves can get the spike down, that's Hunter's Fury, but they use it to open up the site, and it's going to work as Asuna pulls down Sick as well at the beginning of this one. He has had so many good rounds. That is a big impact frag to have as Nitro answers again. We may be going into overtime. DDK, Shazam, and Dapper have to try their hardest here to make this one count.
There's a very late lurk that's possible as well in this mid position from Steel. Oh, never mind. Shazam will take him down, and they are making this quite desperate here for 100. Oh my god, what is happening here with these knives? Shazam's really coming online indeed. Love to see that. I gotta say, it is not easy to hit some of those shots with Jet's ultimate. So it's good to see that Shazam, he's been doing his warm-up.
He does. He always jumps around in the range, and he does spinning jumps too. It's actually kind of wild watching him do his Jet practice. I remember watching him in the early days, like 2 months ago.
Yeah, he's definitely known for that first bullet precision. Somebody that had legendary pistol aim in North America in the CS:GO scene. He always prided himself on it, and obviously he's an incredibly expert sniper as well. So makes sense that Jet is a snug fit for him.
Yeah, calling the shots, making the shots. Shazam, your Sentinels, IGL, always there to wow. Almost dropping a 20, just one away there on the screen. Zoms does have 21 for the team. They've really started to step up here along with Sick and the rest. And now we are on to our first OT round. Got to win by 2, and we'll have 100 Thieves back on that defensive side.
There's a full push onto the A side as we've seen so many times. Dicey with the operator on defense, Shazam with the operator on offense. Nice early pick from Dicey. That often converts quite nicely on the retake for them. And speaking of which, in fact, they haven't even lost the site just yet. Asuna finally gets taken down, but he doesn't do so without doing damage first.
Look at the
recon
flank.
dodge, so important.
All the way around. Steel says no. He was at the back door to enter in at Belt, and he still comes around to help the team. Is that going to be what counts? Power in numbers for 100 Thieves as they retake the site here. Dapper's got pretty good health, takes down Dicey. He was low. Nitro also low as Hiko's going to be the check, and he goes down. It's going to be the 1v1. Will he be able to clutch it? Nitro finds the 3K on the round with low HP, and that was big for 100 Thieves.
It's so hard to predict, Riv, like what is going to happen on some of these retakes. There's just so many corners and angles. It's just very hard to follow who is actually in advantage in some of these scenarios. It looked really good initially on the defense. And Dapper, I mean, it was just by a hair that he doesn't manage to transfer that. Just so close to winning that battle. Nitro on 31 points of health. That could not have been closer. And it definitely makes sense that we're in overtime right now. Both of these teams, as I said, they've got similar approaches as to how they play Icebox on defense and offense. And they're both really, everybody's showing up right now. That's fantastic to see. And we're on Steel once again with that lurk in mid. Dealing with the Sky utility, preventing Sick from getting too much. Although that said, Sick is actually trying to take quite a lot. He will go back though after that flash didn't really work out for him.
Asuna doing what he does best, finding kills in pivotal moments and making the opponent wish they had peeked. Once again, he does it, looking for a 3K, dismisses to the back of the site, and will try to take another 1v1. That's been Sick's spot, though. It's his playground as Dicey gets the trade with 2 more. Dapper again, the last one alive. Lone man standing, and he falls to Steel as 100 Thieves will take the win on Icebox.
What a great strat there right at the end as well. We hadn't seen that approach at all in regulation, Riv. We saw so many situations where Steel was the one lurking up and they would have heavy pressure into A. This time they had heavy pressure into mid and they sent Asuna by himself into A to find the 1v1, and Asuna has been winning so many 1v1s. I've got to say, Asuna is here to play. His aim is unbelievable right now, and this guy, I would be so afraid of him if I was on the other team.
You know, DDK, something that's really impressed me with 100 Thieves is my questions are being answered in terms of, do these mentalities connect with so many boomers and so many zoomers? But will they also be able to react under intense play when they're pushed to the limit? Does it get under their skin too much? Do they get shaky? No. The younger ones are the ones to step up, perform. Like you said, Asuna stepping forward, hitting those shots. Everybody participates, and that's been a pretty big wow factor for 100 Thieves coming in here and what makes them look so dangerous coming into a semifinals. What a close match for game one. Let's throw it over to the analyst desk to break that down. Dash, take it away.
Thank you so much, Riv. I am just pumped because we got our first overtime of the tournament, and Veli, it goes the way of 100 Thieves, clutching it out there in the end.
So the first round of overtime, it was crazy, man, especially over towards A. We saw Dapper in a 1v3, and I was saying to myself, I even said it out loud to you guys, I said, there's no shot Dapper gets this. 1, 2, then a 1v1 came around, Dapper switched over way too late, the aim wasn't on, Nitro bodies him. Nitro has been on fire all game, by the way, okay? But it's the second round that did it for me. Sick was too busy with the rest of his team wasting all types of utility in the middle to try to get rid of Steel, but it was Asuna. Yes, Hiko was right. Asuna went solo A, was able to body Shazam on catwalk, ran right deep in the sight, was able to kill Zombs, and it just opened up everything for 100 Thieves. They were able to just secure the win. That type of play from 100 Thieves has been insane. And I'm going to be honest, Jordan, Van Silly, you guys are right. You guys might be on to something with this.
Yeah, dude, reliving some of the best moments of that map from our Prime Gaming highlights there. But Jordan, I want to come to you because this is where I think the whole conversation around play styles that we kicked this series off with comes into play. It was a hot start for Sentinels, running those 5-man stacks into a couple of the, A and B site. But 100 Thieves, they found the recipe a few rounds in.
It's that old tortoise and the hare kind of story, right? I mean, I think the patience is really the thing that helped 100 Thieves take this home, at least for this round. The thing that we were talking about a little bit, and something that I find very interesting, I kind of want to open it up to everybody to discuss, is the roster here for 100 Thieves, right? When you have a retake happening, again, it's that superpower that I talk about for each of these orgs. They tend to have something. There's something some mutation that the team has that makes them what they are. And for 100 Thieves, it's their retake ability. That right there falls into the hands of Steel, falls into the hands of Hiko, falls into the hands of Nitro. Those are the three that you want to see come in late. And what I love is that seemingly on A there, they just kind of open up the gates for their youngins, for Asuna and for Dicey to get information, to try to pop some kills, do whatever they need to do on the defense side so that our vets can then come in and throw the guns over their shoulders and take care of what needs to be taken care of. And I think it's a lot of fun to watch.
When Jordan's saying everybody had to step up, I totally agree with you. Everybody had their moments. Everybody had their rounds. So you mentioned Nitro. He's been having some 3Ks. He got that clutch on a 1 versus 1. We looked at Hiko. Hiko had to try to win 2 versus 1, but the utilities that came in from Sky with Sick, the 3K, Shazam with the Ops, Steel, the opening rounds that he had when he lurked towards that mid side and got a 3K and kind of opened up the B site. It goes back to that conversation in that interview from Hiko that I had with Smix yesterday. There are a couple of rounds where they had no business in winning. And then you have somebody like Dicey that's going to have a 4K op on the defender side. You have Asuna that's just driving by with the Vandal on retakes on B. It was intense from both sides of these teams. But I do like the fact that Sentinels, they were relentless on their pushes. It was like taking a playbook from Immortals and then expanding it to 2 sites. Because, and I like the idea. The amount of times you rush towards A as a group or rushing towards B as a group, this map is so big. So when it comes down to, hey, you won that site and your teammates have to rotate on the defender side going for 100 Thieves, well, the retake takes so much time. You're wasting a lot of time after a spike plan, so running that clock down, using it to your advantage for Sentinels, it worked out pretty well for a couple of rounds on the attacker side.
It definitely did. Well, and another thing, I mean, just kind of speaking to the size of this map, we talk about the transition time that it takes for any kind of retake, right? Like, what's that connecting bridge there? And for Icebox, it's that untouchable zone of mid. What is that underneath two? What's going on at kitchen? What's going on with the 2-story over at the nest? The ramp, if that's not smoked off, it's a danger zone. It's an absolute kill zone for anybody that's on. That's on the defense side. And something that I loved, I think just, again, with the size of the map and where all that's concerned, Steele didn't have a lot of time to sit AFK in his camera like Eco says that he likes for him to. I'd be really curious to know what those IGLs were like for them, and swapping back and forth between, hard faking a 5-man on A and then like leaning B, leaving Asuna to kind of lurk mid up in kitchen, and that kind of like I'd be curious to know what those conversations were like.
Well, that's why I love the call-outs for Dicey and Asuna, affording the space to the veterans, right? Getting those first initial op kills on the pushes to kind of stonewall Sentinels out of the sight, buy that time for the rotation to come in on a really big map. And we're going from one big map, Veli, to another big map. This one chosen by 100 Thieves. We know they're at home on Haven. So really my question to you is, where's the answer for Sentinels? How do they break through this defensively minded team?
Well, they're 59% on attack. They're about 52% on defense. They're going to have to pick it up. I'm going to be honest, watching Shazam snipe and popping off, and then once Dicey and Nitro got a hold of the scope, you really didn't see much anymore unless there was a few spurs of just Shazam getting a headshot through the boxes at Generator. But other than that, I'm really expecting the two young guns to pick it up. You see the confidence rising with the vets. Remember that 3-man clutch when it was Hiko, Steel, and Nitro? I think they're really going to have to bring it. They're going to have to play back to their aggressive play style. It worked well at the beginning of the round, at the beginning of the game, but then once things slowed down, 100 Thieves ran away with it. So keep pressing W. Keep moving forward, please.
I think that is, as Jordan called out the core identity for 100 Thieves in so many ways, pressing W is the core identity for Sentinels as a roster. And so, hey, they're going to have to get it done on map 2 here, going to Haven. We're heading to a quick break. When we come back, Riv and DDK will have you, take you straight on to Haven.